Moving from a 100% milk diet to solids can be an anxious time, but is an essential part of your baby's development. In this video guide, Kath and her daughter Elsie are going to discuss their experience of starting to wean with Wendy, our midwife, who'll be adding some helpful hints and tips.
So what sort of signs was Elsie showing you that she was ready for weaning?
Well, she started picking things up and putting them in her mouth, and she was taking a lot of interest in other people eating, you know, sort of watching the spoon going back and forth, and I just sort of thought she was probably ready.
And those are sort of classic signs, really, of weaning. The government advises that you start weaning at around the age of 6 months, and they make it very clear that you shouldn't start weaning before the age of 17 weeks.
I find you have to persevere with it. You know, she didn't take to it instantly. I've just been doing it once a day just to get her used to having a spoon in her mouth, and just very sort of bland food, really, just a bit of porridge and gluten-free rice.
It's good that you're persevering with the weaning, because it is quite difficult sometimes to start with. Did you find that she's actually pushing her tongue out with the food on it, and it's difficult for her to take it from the spoon?
It looks like she's spitting it out, but it's just her
and actually
playing with
that's
it.
quite normal to start with, because her tongue's been used to sucking, and often that's how she would use her tongue to suck from the breast or from a teat. So it's quite normal that that happens.
So what advice would you offer a mum like me?
To start with is to use pureed food, and that can be quite runny to start with, so it's a similar sort of texture to what they're used to, and then over time, when she's got used to that, is to actually start using it and making it a little bit thicker, and gradually just introduce thicker foods.
So what can I use to thin it down?
You can use your breast milk, you can use formula milk if that's what you're using. That's the best options really to start with.
Okay.
Weaning is important not just to introduce a balanced diet, but also for development of the mouth and the tongue, and this will in turn help speech development over time. So we've got a variety of pureed foods here on the table. I just wondered if you would go through some of these with me. Would you like me to hold Elsie while you do that? Okay.
Thank you.
Come to me, sweetheart. Hello.
I've just been giving her single vegetables, nice sweet flavours. So there's a sweet potato one, and this is carrot. I just sort of wash them, peel them, steam them, and then use a hand blender just to make a nice sort of smooth puree.
And you're starting off with individual vegetables, you were saying, so just one at a time?
Just to get her used to the flavours, really.
Okay.
And then I sort of tend to make a batch at a time, and then I put them in these pots and just sort of freeze what I don't need immediately.
Yeah, and those pots are really useful for that, aren't they? You know, that you can use them to freeze.
Yeah, I just take them out as I need them, and then when we're out and about for the day, I just defrost it overnight and then take it off with me.
Fantastic. And what are in these two here?
This is just a fruit puree. This is just pear and apple, and this is just butternut squash.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job, Kath, with weaning Elsie. So if I give her back to you now.
Yeah.
Come here. Hello. It's important to avoid salt and sugar when preparing pureed food for your babies. Salt because it can strain their kidneys, which are actually still quite immature, and sugar to avoid a sweet tooth. The other thing to be careful with is gluten, and that needs to be avoided until at least 6 months of age. Gluten can be found in wheat products, particularly bread, pasta and cereals. And the other thing to be mindful of is honey. Honey should not be given to a baby under the age of 1 year. Questions you'd like to ask me?
I'm not really sure how much milk I should be giving her now we've introduced solids.
It's important to give her a good amount of milk still. It's going to form the main part of her diet still, but you might just want to reduce it slightly just to make her more interested in solid feeding, and also maybe just change the timing slightly so she can differentiate between solids and her milk feeds.
I think I'd better try and feed Elsie now. She's probably pretty hungry. I'm not sure whether she'll go for it, but we'll have a go.
So do you find that there's some foods that she's not so keen on, or keen on the taste of them?
Strong flavours, definitely. We'll try. This is pear puree. Let's try this.
It is quite common sometimes for babies not to particularly enjoy the taste to start with, and actually you can need to sometimes try up to 15 attempts before they will actually get used to the taste and actually start taking the food from the spoon. Is that nice?
I don't think she likes it.
I'm not sure.
I'm getting used to it.
She's having a little go, and you noticed a couple of times she's been sticking her tongue out like we were talking about earlier. Babies' natural iron stores begin to deplete at the age of 6 months, so it's important to introduce foods that are rich in iron. However, if mum isn't continuing to breastfeed after 6 months, then Aptamil follow-on is another good source of iron. It contains iron and vitamin D, which are key nutrients for healthy growth. So Elsie wasn't too interested in her food this time. Is that quite common for her at the moment?
Yeah. So I'm finding it difficult to find a time when she's not too tired or too hungry.
And as we said earlier, you know, it's not uncommon for babies to do this, and you know, you need to have several attempts sometimes and keep persevering.
Okay.
There's lots more information about weaning on the Aptamil website. You'll also find our forums online and a team of experts at the Aptamil Care Line who are on hand to help you with any other questions you may have.